And there we go. I've got it going. So let's go ahead and get started. The main purpose of these virtual town halls is to make sure that you guys have as up-to-date information as possible, and then also to provide a platform for you guys to answer questions and you know, add to the discussion a little bit. If there's things that maybe I'm not considering, I definitely want to hear from you guys and hear from that parent perspective. So today I was going to start off with just a couple of dates that are super important that are right around the corner. The very first one is this Friday for first and second graders only, and this is a little bit of a change, and I'll go into it. But this Friday at 4 o'clock, the class lists and A/B cohorts will be posted. So our typical routine is to post those on the front door, the front and back door of kind of the main office area or entryway here at Mark Twain. So this Friday, 4 o'clock, the first and second grade class lists and cohorts will be posted. And the reason I say first and second grade only is kindergarten. In kindergarten, our numbers are a lot smaller. We have very few registrations in. And so we're still waiting to see how many students are going to register, because that actually determines how many classrooms we're going to have. So we're going to push we're going to push kinder class postings and cohort postings. We're going to push that back 1 week. So kinder class postings will be posted on Friday, September 4th. We're going to take a little bit more time and get some more registrations in and get a better idea of how many classrooms we are going to have. Typically at Mark Twain, we have 6 kindergarten classrooms. This year, we actually only have 51 students enrolled, and so we have about 15 or 16 registration packets that are still out there. We're quite a bit lower at this time in the school year than we normally are. Obviously, there's some factors there that I'm sure play into that, which is fine, and we totally understand. But if you guys have folks that have kindergarten age kiddos, definitely want to encourage you guys to remind them to register their kid for school, and we want to make sure we can get those classes for kindergarten as accurate as possible. Okay, so first and second grade this Friday, 4 o'clock, we will post those with cohorts, and kindergarten will be pushed back 1 week, so September 4th. Got one question in the chat room. If we have a cohort or class preference, how do we submit that? Okay, so here's kind of here's how we're going to do this. First of all, there has been a lot of movement in terms of where kiddos are going and things like that. For example, we have a first grade teacher. First grade normally has 5 first grade classrooms. We have a first grade teacher, Miss Najma Chima. She is actually going to be reassigned this year and will be teaching a complete online course for first and second graders. She has about 31, 32 students that are in her online class, and so they are not part of the hybrid. So those are the parents that have chosen to go online all year, whether we have the opportunity to come back to school or not. And so we are going to take the students that are in those classes, first and second graders, we're going to pull them out of the classroom teacher that they were assigned, which obviously will create a little bit of movement, and we'll continue to balance classes by boy-girl, as well as you know, new registrations might go in there, try to balance out A/B blocks if there were some preferences before. And so the real message that I want to make sure everybody has is that when we post first and second grade class lists and cohorts on Friday, if you changed your mind, or you have a request, or your work situation has changed and you need something different than what is posted, we are going to try to accommodate those as best we can. And so don't hesitate to simply call in if you see a cohort that's not going to work for you, or shoot us an email. Let us know how we can make some adjustments, and we're going to continue to work on those obviously as best we can and make sure we accommodate as many parents as possible. So there will be some mistakes that we have made. Some people have been emailing, some people have used the forum, some people have used placement requests. all of those things, and we still are probably going to make a mistake or two with all of the movement and things that are going on. So just let us know if there's something that's not working for you, and we can make some adjustments there. In the chat room, going back to the chat room here, what's going to happen with students who are on an IEP or a 504? And so again, all of those students, we need to make sure that whatever is in the IEP or in the 504, that we are following those. And so prior to the beginning of the school year, you will hear from your case manager in special ed or for your 504, and we will try to have a meeting. We may talk about what accommodations or specially designed instruction or services your child is supposed to be receiving, and we'll make sure that the plan that we have in place works. There are a lot of options, but that's just a very general response. If you do not hear from your case manager that first week before we start school, please call in, and we want to make sure that we get a communication in place for those students. How can we confirm our child is registered for kindergarten? Should we wait until September 4th? Does it matter if we completed the link to be all online? Would they still show and be registered? So kindergarten registration happens with that one-page form for starters, and then secondarily the complete packet for kinder registration. And then also, if you did go online, those students should show up. And so if you want to verify if your child is enrolled in kindergarten, please feel free to call us or email us. You can go to our webpage, go to that contacts list up at the top, and there's a staff contact information. You can check on there. Our office manager's name is Nicole Morris. Her email is listed there. And then our lead secretary up front is Letty PD. And you can email them, and any of those gals will verify registration for your kiddo. Let's go to the next one. For those first graders who were a 1-2 blend class last year, what plans are being made so that they don't redo work? Okay, so regardless of what the classroom was, in this case a 1-2 blend, if your child is in second grade for next year, they're receiving second grade curriculum. Just like in first and second grade, a blended class, they're still receiving their curriculum for that grade level. So for this year, all second graders are receiving second grade curriculum. They'll work from that Edgenuity curriculum, and that's what they should be receiving, regardless of if they're in a blended class. For example, say a family chose online only. And if they chose online only, for us, that's a first and second grade. All of those students will be together. However, the first graders are receiving the first grade curriculum, and the second graders are receiving the second grade curriculum. Don't wait until September 4th. You can call the school or double check for your kindergartner. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. Mr. Steers, if your child was going into a 1-2 blend classroom this year, will they still be in that class? Not necessarily. I'm trying to think of a scenario there. Tom, would you unmute and give me a follow-up on that? What specifically are you hunting for there?
Well, he's just our grandson is a pretty advanced reading and math, and they were putting him in a 1-2. And I just want to make sure that he's still going to have that opportunity.
Yeah, did he select hybrid or online?
Hybrid.
Okay, so in hybrid, all of our first graders are going to be in a first grade only class, but they're definitely, and this will be on a case-by-case basis, but based on whatever their levels are, there's going to be some differentiation there. So if he's advanced and I on that reading side of things, I know for sure we're going to make sure that he has some accelerated pathways for him on that reading side of things. Plus, we're also doing our district assessment. And so if we need to, give him some extensions within the classroom, the teachers will be able to do that. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, you bet. All right, let's go ahead and continue. The second thing, which was a question that came up quite frequently last time, was on school supplies. So if you haven't visited our Mark Twain webpage, I encourage you to go there. I have been posting basically as folks have been asking questions. I've been posting those on the website. So the one question that came up was about was about school supplies and a learning space. And so I posted some information in there. Basically what we're going to do, because we don't know exactly what this year is going to look like as it unfolds, is we're just starting off we're changing the way we did school supplies. Previously in a typical year, we have families pay a certain amount of money. It's been $30 in years past. And then our classroom teachers go out and buy the supplies, which stretches the money as well as gets the specific supplies so that, kids don't have different supplies in the classroom and her pencils are better than mine, or their crayons are longer, or they're better colors, just those type of things. Our teachers do an amazing job with the school supplies, and it really helps stretch the budget. And so this year, obviously, we don't have the opportunity to do that. So I have put on our school webpage a school supplies and learning space. The list for supplies is very general. Pencils, erasers, folders to keep their papers organized, crayons, washable markers, glue sticks, safety scissors, paper or notepads, dry erase markers, a small whiteboard to write on with dry erase, headphones, and a ruler. And so really we're just talking about general supplies. If anybody is in need of supplies, I encourage you to reach out to our schools so that we can help support you. The second piece is really making sure that you spend a little time, and this is a great activity to do with your child, but encourage you to spend a little time finding or identifying where that learning space is going to be. If you have a small desk for your child, that's great. Could be a spot at the coffee table or at the kitchen table, or maybe there's another area. Maybe your child likes to use a lap desk. I know the littles really like the lap desk kind of setups, which is basically just a plastic desk that kind of goes over their legs, and they kind of sit off to the side or in the corner. And so just identify that learning space for your child, and then help them with organization in terms of like maybe having a shoebox or a special drawer for school this year, or a plastic bin where they can keep all of their learning supplies and they can go back to them the very next day. So there's a post on our website with school supplies and learning spaces. And I encourage you guys to take a look at that if you haven't seen that yet. Okay. Let's see. The other topic that's been coming up a little bit is pictures. And so every school is doing things just a little bit differently. There are a number of schools that are having pictures as part of their registration or their technology device pickup. I feel like at our building, one of the challenges we have is the footprint of our school is not very big. We have a lot of challenges with parking. We have a lot of challenges with traffic flow around our building. And so if we bog down that beginning of the year system by adding another station for pictures, with 350, 365 kids, that's going to create a little bit of a mess, even if we do it by grade level. And so what we've decided at Mark Twain is we're going to have a separate picture day. So September 23rd is actually penciled in as picture day. We don't have a schedule yet, but we're anticipating you'll get some information through your teacher. We're anticipating a schedule where kindergartners come in during a certain time, first graders a certain time, second graders, and so forth. And just have a couple of stations outside of the school where they can pull up, they can get their school pictures taken, and it'll be the same process. It'll just be kind of, drive through or kind of a mobile picture day. So that's our plan for pictures. There'll be more information to come, but after talking to a few parents, a few staff members, we felt like it was really important to let the dust settle at the beginning of the school year. And when it comes time to pictures, which is very important for our students and our families, making sure that we do it right and it's organized and we can get folks in and out in a timely fashion. Okay. Got one more question popping in. If our children are in daycare all day, what are some ways we can partner with the classroom teacher for supporting instructions? I think this year, and I think it's hard probably to wrap your head around it because we can't see it. It's not tangible yet. But I think this year, more so than any other year, parents are going to have all of the information and resources at their fingertips, where maybe that was fed to them, or you trusted that there were resources that were going to come home in a backpack or things like that when your kiddo went to school every day. And so there is an Edgenuity account for your student, and parents are going to have access to that. And so there's going to be a lot of resources on that website that parents can go to, and you will have access to that. Plus any resources that the teachers share with families on their account. When I say their account, Canvas, remember, is the dashboard where all of the lessons, videos, and things like that are going to be posted. And so on your Canvas account, there'll be lots of opportunities for teachers to post resources, plus obviously your Edgenuity account, student account, that parents will be able to go on and make sure that they can support or be right alongside their kiddo. Or if that is someone that is supporting that at daycare, they will be able to take a look at the Canvas account and help that child along during the school day. Another question here, do you have an idea of when we will have schedules for when students will have live? That's a great question. That's my kind of next down here. I wrote down on my list to talk about today a schedule and framework for the day. Here's the challenge, and I'm just being completely transparent, especially for my age group of kiddos here, kindergarten, first and second graders, is that we're going to start the school year with a schedule. It's going to be a very basic schedule. The priority is going to be English language arts or reading and math. Those are going to be our priorities, as well as all of the other requirements for the school day. The one thing that I want every parent to hear is that the school year is going to start off from a very, very basic, very scripted schedule and format for the day. As we see how students are progressing or how students respond to the curriculum, some students are going to see the curriculum and the videos are going to make sense and they're just going to take right off, and they're going to need very little support. Some students are going to probably be very typical. There's going to be a population of students that see the videos. They're gonna be able to complete assignments and work through lessons at a very typical rate, what we expect of them. And then there's going to be students that are going to have challenges with it. The videos are going to be very difficult. They're going to have trouble paying attention. They're going to have difficulty maybe with their learning space at home. They may have difficulty because they just need more time. And so after we start the schedule, I just kind of want everybody prepared for that schedule to be fluid. If we need to have additional contacts or we need to support a student more so than another student, that's what equity is going to look like this year. And so be prepared that the schedule might change. We might have additional live supports from teachers, from a staff member. It can change once we get going based on how the students respond to the curriculum. And I don't know what that looks like. I mean, we're all kind of working through this. We've never been in this position before. We're all working through this together and really kind of uncovering and discovering at the same time. And so that's kind of the best description of what the schedule looks like. It'll start off very basic and very scripted, and then as students respond to the curriculum, it's gonna evolve a little bit, and it'll be really important for us as a school to respond to each kiddo and their needs. You had heard the conversation I had before about the kiddo that's probably going to do very well from a reading standpoint and really be accelerated. It's going to be really important for us as a school, and a lot of that responsibility is going to be on the teacher to really find extensions for that kiddo and meet that kiddo where they're at, to give them more challenging reading books or lessons, whatever the case may be. And on the other side of that, if a student is working at a little bit slower pace or needs a little bit more support, it's going to be really important for us to make sure we give them what they need so that they, at the end of the year, students can achieve a year's worth of growth. Let's see here. And so that kind of marks off what I was going to talk about with the schedule, so I appreciate that question. Another important date that I was going to throw out is our technology checkout. So at our building, we're one-to-one iPads. Every student has an iPad at their disposal. And so we are going to check out devices for families that need them Wednesday, September 9th. We're going to have a schedule where we have a certain grade level that's available during the day, and we're going to check those devices out. And so there'll be a power cord with those devices, plus the device itself, and that device will have a case. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. Wednesday, September 9th, you will hear from teachers, and we will make sure that we advertise that prior to it coming out. The next one is, and this actually has been coming up more so through some kind of conversations as people like email or maybe have phone calls when they come in. But one thing, even if we go to hybrid, that we're probably not going to be able to have, that we're very used to in this building, is parent volunteers. We're not going to be able to have in-person parent volunteers. But one thing that we are going to be able to do, and I would encourage you guys to maybe think a little bit about this and maybe find some of those pockets in your day, especially if you are someone who's monitoring or is the home learning coach for your child or a group of children, is we're going to be able to have virtual parent volunteers. And so what that may look like is in a regular classroom setting, we might have a number of stations set up and a parent sits down and helps facilitate one of those stations. And so in a virtual setting, we might have time where we break off into small groups and the teacher may start a Google Meets, for example, or a live video. And then a parent might be in that room as well. And then the teacher will turn it over to the parent, and the parent will run that for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever that station is. Couple of things that we need to make sure that we have in place. Number one, all virtual parent volunteers or adult volunteers will need to have passed a background check. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to post on our Mark Twain webpage, I'm going to post the form for that. That form actually goes to our district office, and we have a process for completing a volunteer background check. And once we have a cleared background check, we'll have virtual volunteers be able to help in the classroom and help support those stations for students as well as the teacher. I think the more virtual volunteers we can have, the more productive we're going to be, especially with these kiddos, because we know from their age that attention is going to be a challenge for them, and they need that adult support. Let's see, a couple of questions here. I've got two questions. So first grade students will be starting with the same thing no matter who the teacher is. Asking because some parents will be putting together a learning co-op and need to know what to expect. So what to expect at the beginning of the school year is each child is going to have their own Canvas account. That Canvas account is going to have lessons and videos and learning resources posted to it, or basically a script for the day or the next couple of days with practice activities. And the kids are going to go click on those and complete those learning tasks. As the student responds to the curriculum, the teacher is then going to add things or accelerate the learning or maybe have some additional practice based on how the kiddo does. And so if you've got an adult or a learning coach in kind of a co-op monitoring multiple kids, let's say at multiple grade levels, all they really need to do is make sure that they take a look at that Canvas account and then just help the child be on track with whatever their learning tasks are for the day. So more than any other year, I think it's going to be easier to help kids who are at different grade levels and at different places, because this is going to end up being a very individualized year with each kiddo having their own individual account. Another question, when is the first day of school? Audrey needs to know when the first day of school is. Are you ready, Audrey? The first day of school for students is going to be September 14th. September 14th will be the first day for students. Are there set times that the students have to be logged in? So again, that's going to go back to the schedule. We don't have that schedule set yet, but yes, there are going to be certain times where we have live meets, and then there's going to be times for, the term is synchronous and asynchronous, okay? And that's another thing that I believe there is a post for that. If there isn't, I'm going to leave myself a note here, and let me post that to the web page as well. Synchronous and asynchronous activities. Okay, a synchronous activity is when students learn together through online classes and video conferencing, so it's happening live. An asynchronous activity would be when students are learning at their own pace through a video or a project, meaning it's not necessarily live. So for example, synchronous activities could be virtual classrooms or live webinars, interactions between students in a breakout session or a smaller group, checking in with students via an instant messaging or a video conference, so something that's is two-way and it's live, focused activities with real-time interaction. Office hours is another time. We haven't really determined how we're going to use office hours, because the reality is the students are so young that it's not happening live. It's typically happening with the adult that's overseeing that learning. Asynchronous activities are going to be pre-recorded lectures or readings or podcasts or videos, a lot of times in our cases. Could be video demonstrations or problems worked, so examples. Practice problems, discussion questions, and other activities, a quiz or assignment or an application. So those can be examples of asynchronous activities. And I'm going to post that. I've got a note down to post that on our webpage. And you can take a look a little bit deeper at the difference between those synchronous and asynchronous activities. Let's see here. So that helps with that question. We've got parent volunteers. Couple other reminders too. Remember, I had talked previously, and I do have a post on our Mark Twain webpage about the Silver Falls School District YouTube channel. So it's just SFSD official. Excuse me. If you type that into YouTube, it'll go right to the Silver Falls School District YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that channel. That's where everything from Mark Twain virtual town halls are going to be held. Any of the other school buildings, their town halls will be there. There are, other long-range facility planning, school board meetings, budget work sessions, all of those video recorded meetings and things like that, public meetings, are going to be posted on that YouTube channel. I have a link to that on our Mark Twain webpage, so just a heads up to take a look at that, and that's where these recordings are. There is a document also on our Mark Twain webpage about a home learning coach. So there's a document there that you can click on and kind of read through the specifics on a home learning coach and how they support student learning during the year. And then there's also some resources, Edgenuity Parent and Family Resource Site. There's a link there to help kind of wrap your head around what the online learning is going to look like and how the parents and family can support that learning this year. Trying to think what else we have here. Let's got one more question. How much time should we expect to spend in asynchronous activities each day? So in terms of the asynchronous activities, it does depend on the child. So some kids are going to dive into those asynchronous activities and you might have to stop them because they like that and encourage them to stay on a schedule and take a break. The goal is that children are receiving 5 days worth of instruction during the week. The time-wise, we're looking at about 2 to 3 hours, depending on the child. The minimum is about 2 hours and 20 minutes a day. So it's just a little bit under 12 hours for the week. But those are kind of the basic minimums and kind of time frames. So about 2.5 hours would be on average how long a day kids are spending on activities. But they could dive into some asynchronous activities and really be there for quite a long time. But we are shooting for 5 days a week of instruction. We are shooting for about 2.5 hours a day. And it varies with the asynchronous and synchronous activities. The goal is to be about half, 50% each direction. And again, that depends on the needs of the kiddo. And then for over the course of the week, you're at about 12 hours a week for learning. And half of that would be synchronous and the other half of that would be asynchronous. So again, it depends on the needs of the child. The goal is, how is the child responding to the curriculum and how much growth are they making? And so we will need to make some adjustments. How about, are there any questions? Or is something that we haven't, yeah, Amy, let me get to that one in just a sec. Are there any questions that we need to get to, or anything kind of pressing that parents would like to share that I can help with? Stella, are you going to ask me a question, or are you just looking cute? Liv's got a question.
She's just saying hi. Here, just say
Oh,
hi.
awesome. Hi, Stella. It's good to see you, sweetheart. Is that Liv afraid to jump in the pic?
She's way too cool for us kindergartners.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I got one question in here. Are Mondays still set for teacher work days, no synchronous sessions, or has that been changed? And so I think what I want parents to hear is that since we've started off the school year, September 14th all the way through November 13th, there's going to be a contact every day of the week. That could be, for example, we're going to start the day off with a morning meeting, just like we would if we were in person. There are going to be SEL, social emotional learning standards that we're going to try to target each day. That could be part of the classroom and kind of how to help kids be effective during the school day in terms of their learning. That could be bigger topics that come from our guidance lessons, which are going to be delivered by our counselor. If you haven't seen those, by the way, we've got some really exciting plans this year. She delivers a lot of her guided or her guidance lessons through a puppet curriculum. And so she just does an amazing job. The kids love it. The nickname for her is the Puppet Lady. But she does some amazing things. And so she's going to be putting together, the best way to do it is to deliver those through videos. But she's going to be putting together some pretty amazing videos, and we're gonna make sure we start off each day with something from our social emotional learning, our morning meetings, and then a regular occurrence will be guidance lessons. But every day of the week while we're in distance learning, there will be some connection with your teacher or with an adult staff member that's assigned to the classroom. Days off for in-service days. Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to have to write that down. I think we are going to have in-service days. Obviously, we'll have days where we don't normally have school. I don't know exactly what the in-service days are going to look like. We want to make sure that we maximize the learning for all of our kiddos. And so I haven't received direction on what our in-service days are going to look like. So I will take a note though, and I will see what I can come up with in terms of in-service days and maybe have that for our next virtual town hall. So I appreciate the question. How about any other questions? I mean, I kind of went through quite a bit there. Do any of the kiddos that are watching have questions? We've actually had some great questions before from kiddos. Anybody have anything they wanted to share? Well, that's all of the new information and kind of updates that I have. I have two things on my to-do list. One, I'm going to post something on our webpage about synchronous and asynchronous activities. And I am also going to have a post on our webpage about virtual parent volunteers with our background check form. Again, that can be scanned or a picture given back to the school, or we can send that on to the district office. And then this virtual town hall is going to be posted to the Silver Falls School District YouTube channel. Again, I will stay on if anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask me. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you so much. And again, if you have any questions at all, feel free to give us a call, email us, let us know how we can help. The questions are getting smaller, so I feel like we're doing a pretty good job in terms of providing information. But that's what I have. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll stay on until everybody's off. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Hey, Greg, I got a quick question.
You bet.
Hey, for the live kind of, I think it's called synchronous learning.
Yeah.
Will some of those opportunities be available, let's say after normal school hours? My son, he has to go to daycare all day, and both him and myself and his mother work full time. So I don't know if the daycare he's at going to be able to accommodate that.
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, some of our teachers have kind of asked us more kind of from an expectation standpoint. I think it's going to be important to, to really find out what you guys need. What does the synchronous activity look like? What kind of are you guys needing? I think it's going to be important for every school in the district to be flexible no matter what. So if there's a special need or something that we can do for you guys that kind of falls into that synchronous, like, hey, we need something at, 5 o'clock once a week. I think those are all possibilities. I don't know specifically what that looks like. I don't know how your kiddo is going to respond to the curriculum, but I think it's going to be important for us to be flexible, both for the kiddo as well as the family. So
I think last year, he was in Miss Davis's class last year, and she was able to set up some afternoon meetings later, like 5 p.m. and after. Yep. And I do think he really benefited from those. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing I want parents to understand too is that depending on how kiddos respond to the curriculum and what they need, that need could come later. It could come from the teacher. It could come from an EA that we assign. Maybe it's a small group and there's 2 or 3 kids together and we do something at 5:30 because that's a great time for that family. Those are very real possibilities.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You bet. All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Can I ask you one other question? I don't know if I'm the last one on. I'll just ask one.
Go ahead.
So I because of work conflicts, I wasn't able to attend the first 2. So for Ingenuity and Canvas, are we supposed to be already set up with that, or are you guys sending something out for us to get set up with that?
Yeah, we're in the process of doing that right now, and so the the accounts. We're going to have parent trainings. We're going to have resources that we push out. We're also going to have technology kind of point people for families so that if they're having issues, I can't get logged in or this isn't working, they'll have somebody that they can contact here at the school versus going to somebody that doesn't know you or anything like that. So yeah, absolutely. We're going to have training. We're going to have resources available for parents to make sure they can manage that and get that information. We don't have any account information yet. The teachers are just getting some trainings on that right now.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for your time.
Hey, you bet. And I saw your question there. So
Which one?
Synchronous activities. Synchronous activities are synchronous activities are the student learning online or video conferencing that's happening live. So it's in the moment. I see that this is Jenny has asked this question. I see you can't unmute your phone, which is okay. And so anything that's happening live where the teacher says something or delivers or gives some information, the student can respond back. So the easiest example of that is in a video conference, or if they happen to be on a phone, like a speaker call or something like that. That's the best example. Is that daily at the same time? Are they recorded? So yes and yes. We're actually talking about how we can make sure that any session that we have of a kiddo for some reason can't be there or is absent or is sick or something, how they can be recorded and they can be pushed out just to that kiddo the next day. There are some questions around, what am I thinking of? I'm trying to think of confidentiality or kind of, in recording some of those things. So we're trying to figure out how exactly we can best communicate that. But we do want to make sure that those are recorded so the kiddos have access to those. Yes, they would be scheduled during a certain time during the day. And especially when we get to small group instruction. So say your kiddo has another small group that they're going to go to because that's their reading level. Those would be scheduled and they would be on your child's Canvas account. Yeah. Yes, yes. Schedule would be communicated in advance. Yes. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Technology, right? All right. Sounds great. Well, if there aren't any questions, there's only just a couple of people. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out. So thank you so much. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.